Oh boy, gamers, it's time to vote on the official Game Awards. I'm looking forward to this because I haven't seen most of these lists. I have seen the nominations for Game of the Year, and it's a pretty solid list, honestly. Now, before we get into this, I do want to mention a couple things have changed with my personality throughout this year, or rather, I've been really trying to work on myself because normally I'm the type of person where I know what I like, I know what I dislike, and more often than not, I would kind of just be like, oh, you like that game that has like zero mechanics and is like really stupid and really boring and is just objectively bad. So what I've been doing this year is really trying to go against that and more so be like, oh, you like that game that I don't like? That's cool, dude. I'm glad that you enjoyed something, you know? So with that said, I still think that the Game Awards is where we need to be critical. And as we go up the list, I'll obviously become more critical with some of this stuff. But generally, I just wanted to put you all into my mindset because I think that there's way too much rage bait and toxicity around on the internet these days, like more so than ever before, which I find very, very perplexing because during all of the COVID pandemic stuff, people were really pissed off and needed a creative outlet. And so that's where like all of the good stuff came from and everyone was really connecting and video games popped off and became like a huge thing. And now for some reason that all of that settled, everyone's back to being like grumpy and angry and taking it out on each other. So I'm just saying, spread some positivity, spread some love. For the games that you don't like, it doesn't mean that other people didn't enjoy them. And unlike previous years, I'm gonna skip over a couple of these. So best esports team, best esports athlete, esports game, I don't care. I don't have any experience with any of that. Content creator of the year, we already know that's me. So let's just move on to most anticipated game. If GTA isn't here, I mean, I don't even need a look. I don't even need to look. Am I excited for all of these? Yes, with 007 probably being the lowest of the bar. Personally, like, I'm really excited for Resident Evil, but we all know it's GTA. Best adaptation is this gonna be this TV show, right? Bro, I haven't even seen the Splinter Cell show because it made me mad. For years and years, they've been working on a Splinter Cell remake, and being a fan of the original Splinter Cell games, I am just hoping that we get that remake before Ubisoft goes under. Like, as far as I'm concerned, I would be so happy with that. I gotta vote for Splinter Cell even though I haven't even watched the show yet. Actually, it doesn't even have Michael Ironside as the voice actor, which is why I don't really care, but sure. We all know Minecraft is gonna win that anyway. Best multiplayer. All right, let's see what we got. Arc Raiders, that kind of popped off really hard. Battlefield 6 popped off really hard. Elden Ring Night Rain, good enough game. Peak being here is very surprising as a friend slop game. I know that's like a negative term, but generally speaking, I think that's a very apt title for these types of games. And Split Fiction, oof, I tried it, I did not like it. I guess I'll have to give it to Night Rain, even though I don't think that it's going to win. In this case, I actually think that Battlefield should win. I don't know anything about sports or racing games, don't know anything about strategy. What's best family? This is just gonna be where they throw all the Nintendo games, right? Oh God, this is a very tough call between Donkey Kong Bonanza and Mario Kart World. Mario Kart World was very underwhelming for a lot of people. I personally loved it, but I will admit that the wife and I haven't played this nearly as much as we did Mario Kart 8. I think that the easeability of Mario Kart 8, like it's so much easier to get into. But yeah, I don't know. This is a tough call for me because personally, I think Donkey Kong is one of the best platforming games like ever created. But I think in terms of family category, which to me is playing it with other people, Donkey Kong's not multiplayer. Like it is, but you get to have like somebody standing on your shoulder shouting as Pauline. So it goes to Mario Kart for me. I don't know the best fighting game. I know best RPG is just gonna go to Claire Obscura, even though out of all of the games in this category, I'm gonna have to give it to Kingdom Come. I think that that's far better as far as a role-playing game. Like you are taking the role of this character in the medieval world. Claire Obscura, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I tried it, I hated it. I found it to be so boring. I thought that the music was beautiful, but I'm very, very hard to please when it comes to a story, especially in these types of games. Like if it doesn't rope me in immediately. I mean, the funny thing is, I think Claire Obscura's story, probably for all accounts, is great. There's got to be a reason people are praising it. But I just find JRPGs, like turn-based combat, to be so incredibly dull at this point. that I just couldn't get into it. In my opinion, Kingdom Come wins this category. Best action adventure. Oh, this is... Why is Death Stranding here? It's neither action nor adventure. Oh man, this is a tough one. You know what? Unironically, I'm gonna vote for Death Stranding, bro, because action adventure, the categories for the Game Awards are stupid at this point. But when I think to my experience of playing most of these games, like I tried Split Fiction, couldn't get into it, it was boring. I didn't try Indiana Jones, but I heard good things about it. Hollow Knight had some serious balancing issues. The world itself was really interesting, but eventually I just dropped it. Ghost of Yotei, I liked the story, but I found the open world to be so boring and just stale. It was basically Ghost of Tsushima again, which obviously it's a sequel. But you know what? Unironically, with Death Stranding, as much as I dogged on that game, I actually quite enjoyed the slow pacing of it all. And I think that it falls under the category of adventure more so than any of these others. Best action game. Wait, so why do we have action adventure if action game is a thing? Why is this here? That's odd. Best action game. I mean, for me personally, would it be Doom or Battlefield? Doom had a lot of things going for it, but I didn't like Dark Ages at all. The irony is I saw a lot of people online saying that when they didn't like Doom Eternal, those people seem to really love Dark Ages, and vice versa for somebody like me who loved the fast-paced combat of Doom Eternal and the verticality. That's why I felt like Dark Ages was kind of a step to the side rather than an evolution of the game. My only experience with Battlefield was being absolutely addicted to it during the beta. As soon as it came out, I could care less because I don't have the time to play through it. I guess I gotta give it to Doom. No, I gotta give it to Battlefield. I have to. The fact that it's actually multiplayer and a grand return to form of what people love about Battlefield in the first place, it's neck and neck, but that takes it for me. Best VR game. This is gonna be laughable. Look at this list. Yup, pathetic. Oh my God. Okay, Midnight Walk sucked. It's literally just a walking simulator game. It's a work of art, but it's not a video game. The Marvel Deadpool game, it's Oculus exclusive, so I can't play it. Ghost Town, I don't even know what this is. Arcane Age, I kept up with this game for a very long time. When I eventually tried it out, it just felt the same as every other VR game. Probably would have to give this one or Deadpool the vote. Despite the fact that I didn't play Deadpool, Oculus games are they're the cream of the crop in terms of quality. I really wish that Steam would actually start buying up some exclusivities because I hate the fact that everything's on Oculus now. And the Alien Rogue Incursion, this game's garbage. Like actual garbage. I am so sorry to anyone who enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this game, frankly speaking, you don't have much experience with VR. And I know I said earlier that I'm not gonna dog on people for their opinions, and you're totally entitled to your own opinion, and you could have absolutely loved this game, but what I played was one of the worst VR games ever. I know Deadpool's probably the best out of these though, just because of like the quality and caliber of it. Screw it, even though I didn't play it. That's not like a sin. Best mobile game, what's this category gonna be? Destiny Rising, Persona 5, Sonic Rumble, which I heard was terrible. I've been hearing a lot of people say this game is really good, but I just see a waifu simulator if I'm being honest. Wuthering Waves. This would be a tough one for me between Wuthering Waves and Destiny Rising. I played Destiny Rising for like a good hour or two, just going through the tutorial and playing it, and it actually is really good and really impressive for a mobile game. I will say that at least this is kind of doing its own thing, whereas Wuthering Waves is just Genshin. But it's a tough call because Wuthering Waves is very high quality as far as the Genshin clones, the generic gacha game. Yeah, I don't know. I guess for me personally, which game would I rather be forced to play at gunpoint? Probably Wuthering Waves or Destiny. Oh, this is a tough one. I'm gonna say Destiny, I think. I think this one was a little bit more interesting with what I played. Best debut indie game. Okay, so you guys remember that Mega Bonk was nominated, and then the developer basically opted out because, oh, I've made plenty of games before. This is just the game that popped off for me. The thing about debut indie game is that as far as this category is concerned in the Golden Globes, it usually just means your first movie that actually like got traction and popularity. So in that regard, I think Megabonk fits here. But a lot of people theorize that the dude who's behind Megamonk, he's a content creator, I think, who also creates video games, and he's really good at doing like viral stuff. And by him just opting out, the game's gonna get a lot more attention than it's going to get at the actual showcase. Like, let's be real. I can't really put my opinion on any of these because Blueprints is a puzzle game. I didn't care about it. Claire Obscura, I mean, what do we call an indie game nowadays? I don't even know what this is, but it looks funny. And Dispatch, I've been hearing a lot of good things about as far as a Telltale game is concerned. But yeah, I'm gonna pass this one. For best independent game, what does that even mean? Okay, out of all of these, Ball X Pit, 100%. That's gonna take it from me. Even though I low-key hate this game now, you know, I put 20 hours into it, I played through it, I got to New Game Plus, and then I was just like, why would I keep playing? It's just the same thing. That said, for those 20 hours, oh my God, you better believe I was hopping on all the time. Best community support. What does that even mean? Recognizing game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness. Oh, like continued updates. I mean, we all know that belongs to No Man's Sky, even though I personally would love to put Helldivers on this. We all know it's No Man's Sky, like 100%. Best ongoing. Oh, wait, so is this different? Continued development and experience of the play. Okay, so this goes to No Man's Sky, and then for community support, I'm gonna go with Helldivers because they've actually been doing really, really good with their updates lately, where they're opening a like dialogue with the players and talking directly about the problems that they're dealing with as far as development is concerned, and I appreciate that. Fortnite being here, they're never clear about anything, so no thank you. Games for impact. Pass. Innovation in accessibility. I don't know. Assassin's Creed? Sure. I'm surprised that this isn't in more categories. Best performance. So this is gonna be acting. Oh boy. I mean, we all know stupid Expedition's gonna win. Of course there's 3 actors from Expedition. Cause let's be real, like there was nothing else as far as like story-driven games. Silent Hill F, no. Just get out of here. Troy Baker. I'm gonna give it to him because for me personally, I didn't know it was him doing the Indiana Jones voice. I genuinely thought they had like AI, like Harrison Ford. Best audio design. What do we got here? Oh boy, that's a tough one. Probably Ghost of Yotei, if I'm being honest. Then again, even with my limited time of Claire Obscura, that soundtrack slapped. Like that was really good. But I'm gonna give it to Ghost of Yotei because I feel like this is gonna be audio and sound design. Yeah, not just related to music. So it's probably just gonna be that one for me. I don't really care that much. Oh, never mind. They have a best score and music, which yeah, sure. I'll give it to this one just because I know the music's good, even though I barely played the game. Best art direction. I don't know why. Unreal Engine, pass. It's in its own weird jank engine, but it's just live action actors, not very stylized, pass. This is 100% the best art direction. Otherwise, Hades has its own unique art direction, and Hollow Knight is all hand drawn, but it isn't actually super high quality hand drawn. Not that I care about these sorts of things, but for example, I was playing Hollow Knight Silk Song on my Nintendo Switch 2, and if you try to play the game at 4K, the textures don't actually scale to 4K because they weren't drawn in 4K. But regardless of that, Ghost of Yotei is one of the most beautiful works of art I've ever seen, even though I personally hated the game. Best narrative. We should vote for Silent Hill F, just because it's the worst story I've ever experienced in a video game. I'm surprised that we don't have some other games in here. Like if Ghost of Yotei is in here, then Assassin's Creed Shadows belongs on this list, because Ghost of Yotei is the same story. It's told better in most areas, but some areas I actually preferred Assassin's Creed. Death Stranding's story is an absolute mess, but at least it was entertaining and a spectacle. I'm gonna vote for Silent Hill F just because it's the worst story I've ever experienced. Best game direction. What does that mean? Awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. Then why are all of these here? I'm skipping this one because none of these get my vote. And the game of the year. I mean, we knew Expedition was gonna be here. This is where I'm gonna not only get super critical, but I'm gonna go into a bit more detail. And I'm also going to put my own hat in the ring with my own predictions of what's gonna win the showcase. So Expedition 33 is already in too many categories. It's going to win a lot of categories. I don't think it's going to win Game of the Year because at the end of the day, the Game Awards is very, very commercialized. As we already saw last year with Astrobot winning, the narrative that they were trying to sell with the Game Awards that was that the PS5 Pro just released. And so PlayStation cleaned up a lot of different categories because if you follow the narrative, that means that the Game Awards is basically saying, oh yeah, look at all of these awesome PlayStation games. You should go out and buy a PS5 Pro, right? Now, I'm not saying Astrobot didn't deserve the Game Award win, but objectively, that game was just a Mario ripoff that wasn't as inspired as Mario. I mean, say what you will. You can obviously argue against me. But Expedition's one of those games where I feel it's here more so as just to be like, oh, look at this indie game that made it to the top list. Hideo Kojima, he has a relationship with Jeff. We knew this was going to be here. I don't think it deserves to be on the Game Awards just because, I will say at the very least, it did try to do something different and it's very unapologetic about being something that Kojima wants to make, despite the fact that the game was very messy. Donkey Kong gets my vote 100%. And let me try and sell you on it. Beyond just being a Nintendo fan, obviously, I'm gonna be real. This is objectively doing so much more than all of these other titles. And at the end of the day, I think that Donkey Kong is the only game on this list that is like 100% a video game. It is meant to be a form of just raw, unabashed entertainment. And with Donkey Kong, it does something to me, man, because the fully destructible environment just is so fun on top of the fact that you've got such tight controls and fantastic platforming. It's beyond just destroy everything. Like that's very cathartic. But then when you actually start to explore the world and deep dive into the intrinsic details of how much crap they've buried in the level, because this is essentially a Mario game, but with destructibility. So they can hide little collectibles all over the place. And there are very, very few games that I play all the way to the end and still enjoy them and say that was awesome. There are even less games that I will immediately play again. Donkey Kong, I played through 3 times in a row. Maybe you'll disagree, but I personally think that objectively, Donkey Kong does so much more than all of these other games. And if we objectively try to look at what all of the other games do as far as video games, entertainment, and the genre, I think that the second place would be Kingdom Come Deliverance, just because the sheer amount of stuff that it's doing and simulating and really immersing you into this world. But not to skip over, Hades, if I'm being honest, I've only heard by reputation. I haven't played it myself. I know it's a banger of a video game, but it is a sequel, which means that it's just going to be more of what the first game did, but refined. Same with Death Stranding. Clair Obscura is its own thing, and I can see why a lot of people will vote for it just because I know that as far as a JRPG, it's actually amazing. But I think that it's also very overhyped by a lot of people that haven't really experienced the awesomeness of JRPGs that an old fart like me has experienced back on the PS1 and the PS2. Nowadays, you don't really have many popular JRPGs. And so I feel like Clair Obscura's popularity comes from the fact that it is almost a relic of olden times, where this is basically like what JRPGs used to be like in terms of their quality and caliber. Like this is like the quality of what Final Fantasy used to be before the Final Fantasy remakes just became like, a cash-in of garbage anime grunts and stuff. Anyways, moving on. Hades, I know is great, but whatever. Silk Song, I think is a work of art. I'm glad that it came out, and I think that it's an awesome game. However, I think that it's fundamentally flawed. Like at a core level, I think that the developers have a very huge disconnect between actually making like a fun video game versus challenge. Because for me, the reason why I dropped Silk Song is because the challenge ended up becoming annoying, like running back to bosses. That to me is kind of the epitome of what led to all of these little things that slowly ate away at me before I just decided to drop Silk Song. So using the run back to a boss as an example, you gotta remember Silk Song started development over 7 years ago. And so Elden Ring and stuff didn't actually release yet. And so these developers kind of lost touch with the fact that even FromSoft, which is known for making hard games, even they had checkpoints just before boss fights. Even they succumbed to that because being able to fight the boss right after, I'm all for dying 500 times to a boss, so long as I don't have to deal with any extra crap that's wasting my time and inflating my playtime, right? Now, with that said, even though I think objectively Kingdom Come would probably deserve like second place, it wasn't my favorite game by any means. Like, I'm more of into like fantasy, like Elder Scrolls world type of thing, rather than this more realistic, slower animation. Because that's what realistic usually means in video games. It just means waiting for your character to get up off the ground or grab something off of a shelf. You know what I mean? But yeah, with all of that said, 110% Donkey Kong gets my vote. Do I think that it's going to win the actual Game Awards? Maybe. It will, because the Nintendo Switch 2 is the new console that they're trying to sell. That could be the narrative that Jeff goes for with the show, since all the Game Awards is ads these days. And that would make me happy, because it means that Donkey Kong would get what it deserves. But do I honestly think that it's going to win outside of if they're trying to push the narrative, trying to sell the Switch 2? No, I don't think Donkey Kong's gonna win, because I don't think that any of the old men that are on the jury like fun. But with all of that said, what do you guys think is the game of the year? And you can go ahead and say outside of these categories, but keep in mind I am gonna do my own game of the year video a little bit later in the year after Metroid's released and a couple other games have released and so on. But in any case, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed.